Last weekend, Brainouty popped up on one of my brother's YouTube videos, JackSmack77. I apologize to him that that thread was stolen. You can go on that video and look at the exchanges between myself and Brainouty, and the fact of she came on there because she's upset. Obviously, I think one of her followers could not disprove 1 John 5:7 through the grammar, and because of the issue of gender problem and the internal problem there. And so she came on there ranting and raving as if she's the only one who knows Greek, and she's the expert. One of the things she's pointed out is I never read Greek on video. I've shown transcripts that I've taken 4 years of college Greek, classical Greek, not biblical Greek, classical Greek. But if you know classical, you can read biblical Greek quite easily. So I'm reading from the beginning of John very quickly here, and I'll read some in Greek, and then I'll just translate quickly in English. In arche hein holagos, kai holagos ein phos to theon, kai theos ein holagos, utos ein in arche phos ton theon, panta de autu agenutu, kai chorus autu agenutu, ude en ho gegamen. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came through him, and apart from him, nothing became that is, that nothing is, that nothing is created that has been created. In autu zoe ein, kai he zoe ein to phos ton anthropon, kai to phos en te scotia phane, kai he scotia autu u katalaben. In him was life, and the life was the light of men, and the light shined in darkness, and the darkness contemplated it not. By the way, this is the Trinitarian Bible Society, and it's just pure Greek. Just pure Greek, yeah. Let me see here. It's not something. I'm just going to start reading English now. A man came sent from God. His name was John. He came in order to witness concerning the light, in order all men would believe through him. Not that he was the light, in order to give witness concerning the light. There was a true light which shineth in all men coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world came through him, and the world knew him not. He came to his own, and his own received him not. As many as received him, he gave to them power to become sons of God, to those that believe in his name. Excuse me. Not from they were born not from blood, ala ex, again based on, not from blood, but not from the will of flesh, nor from the will of man, but from God, ala ex abeu, and the born comes to the end of the sentence. And the Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory. His glory is the only begotten from the Father, full of grace and truth. John witnessed concerning him and cried, saying, This is whom I said, the one coming after me is preferred over me, before me, because he is before me. Ho potas me aim. And from his fullness we receive all things, grace on grace, and because the law came through Moses, it was given Moses, and grace and truth which came through Jesus Christ. No man has ever seen God, the only begotten Son, the one who is in the bosom of the Father, he has declared him. So those are the first 18 verses of John, and said this is just a New Testament, the Greek and Hebrew, and so that to go that quickly, that reading the Greek, it makes an issue of the scanning on Titus 1:12. As I said, in English, the New Testament is not in meter for sound. It is a meter for pronunciation, syllabization in the syllables. So she wanted to use Titus 1:12 to scan it. Now, no student of New Testament Greek will know what scanning is. I went back to my my reading Greek book and classical work they took that go through the rules of scanning. Long vowels are scanned long, and short vowels are scanned short, and diphthongs are scanned long. And all scan is that you're saying here, Kratos Susate Kaka Bewia Gasteres Argai, and then you have the long vowel there, short, long, long, short, short, long, short, long, short, short. And this is supposed to be a type of poetry in the way you pronounce it. Kaka Bewia, Cretans, always liars, evil beasts, slow, Algai bellies. Let's see if you can see that. So that's all that is. That's just a thing. And it has totally relevance to the New Testament. And she got that again from Thieme, because Thieme was he did his undergraduate work with Homer, and Homer, of course, is doing a lot of that, because that's poetry, and that's what he did on that. Second thing, I'll go back to Septuagint and the Koine and how much they relate. A.T. Robinson said that Greek was very much a united language. The unity of the Greek language, from the earliest fragments of the pre-Homeric Greek to the latest modern Greek newspaper, there was unity and identity of essential vocabulary and idiom. There was less difficulty to modern Greek in reading Homer than to a modern American Englishman in reading King Alfred's Chronicles. So if you know New Testament Greek, you can read the Septuagint quite easily. There are, of course, differences in form and background and structure, but you can read it. The vocabulary is pretty basic. The ellipsis, okay, then she attacked the fact that A.T. Robinson was pointing that out. She said A.T. Robinson couldn't read Greek, and she based on the fact that he mistranslated Matthew 24:24. And I pointed out that Robinson had a grammatical basis for translating it the way he did. Bollinger's work, Matthew 24:24. He states very clearly here, Matthew 24:24. Here you get inasmuch, if it were possible, the condition involves no doubt as it being impossible, which is how Robinson quoted it. Again, taken from exegetical studies here, fallacies of exegetical things from D.A. Carson. Fallacies connected with various synactical units, conditionals. He says, in first-class condition, the protasis is assumed true for the sake of the argument, but the thing actually assumed may or may not be true. To put another word, the stress is on the reality of assumption, but not on the reality of the content that is assumed. The fact is that, and that's how they were translating, the elect could not be deceived, and that is not a Calvinistic point. People in terms of security don't believe the elect can be lost. I mean, so if you get deceived in the tribulation, this is where confusion is. She's confusing the tribulation with the church age, because tribulation deception will lead to you taking the mark and being lost. So the protection against that is not to be deceived, because that's how people will take the mark. They'll be deceived. And one of the ways to be deceived by is modern versions. And the lies that people like Brainouty are putting out, telling people not to believe the King James Bible. So when they read Revelation, they'll read the wrong thing about taking the mark and will be deceived, because they'll be in total confusion. And that's what people like her are doing. What else? Ellipsis. So she could point when you're arguing about this, and she brings up this. What she just throws things out, that there's a missing verb in the first, in the protasis, and that just what that means is that the protasis is implied. It doesn't change anything. In fact, it's a first-class condition, and the first-class condition has exceptions. She was making an issue. I was pointing out the Wallace grammar, and he points that out. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but dealing with conditions that there are exceptions, and that at the end, in the final result, context will determine how many of these conditions are translated. And he's dealing especially with the first class condition, and he says this refers to all other conditions. So Matthew 24:24 can rightly be considered in that way, that if it were possible, but it's not, that the elect might even be deceived. And that might be where the fact that the people say about the Jews losing their salvation, and the saved Jews losing their salvation, and they have to have a faith work system. The way that the detect is that they can see the truth and not be deceived. That might be where they're kept from taking the mark and losing their salvation. But nevertheless, and so I think that's about it. Hexamen is irrelevant. It doesn't prove that it's Attic Greek. It's a form. That's a literary form. Scanning is irrelevant to anything in the New Testament. And when we're learning just New Testament Greek, we know how to scan anything. They're not taught that in New Testament Greek because it's meaningless. It's taught in Homer. But when you're getting tapes from a man, R.B.Thieme, who learned a lot in Homer, he threw a lot of that stuff in there, and it was just to show off some of his knowledge. So in the end, you can read in the Greek, and it's not a problem. But these are people, again, they sum up. They come in with Brainouty as one goal. And along with the others, ancient Hebrews and other people, Tic-Toc ministries, James White, etc. They one goal: get you away from the King James Bible. Try to show that they know something that you don't know. And remember one thing: the point is emphasis that this issue is not about how much Greek and Hebrew I know. The issue is what the King James translators know. I'm not defending my interpretation. I'm not defending my understanding of the Greek and Hebrew. I'm defending what the King James translators translated, and the fact that they got a perfect translation, and that's what the ultimate issue is. Is Brainouty smarter than the King James translators? Is James White smarter than the King James translators? Is the woman from Tic-Toc Ministries smarter than the King James translators? So you can just ancient Hebrew, wait for the Old Testament to come out. I'm sure it will supplant the Old Testament of the King James translators because he's smarter than they are. So that's what it comes down to. Are these guys smarter than the King James translator, R.B.Thieme? Is he smarter than the King James translator? No, they got it right. They're the scholarships. They're the scholars. They knew what they were doing. They got a perfect translation. For 400 years we've had it. And they're not going to change it. And what they want you to do is go to them. And so you can go to them, and they can be the priesthood. They can be the expert. If you can't read in English, they know how to scan, and they know how to look up hexameters, and they know how to look at this and look at that, and you don't know that, so you got to come to them. And so you don't know the difference between an adjective and a pronoun. Oh my goodness, in Greek, but you can read English, and that's what they've got to get you out of the English. Brainouty has made a comment that we really can't understand the true meaning of the Greek words, but we get as close as possible. In other words, we really don't understand what even the Greek says in English, so we have to just make a translation that comes close to it, and that's what she considers translation. So this will be a finishing up on the issue of Brainouty, and I won't begin with her anymore because she's very deceitful and a very wicked person. So I don't have time to deal with people like that anymore. So this is a summation of that, the issues of what she raised and the attacks of Bracket Church. Koine Greek is under Koine. I spell Koine wrong, so I don't know the Greek alphabet. I know the English alphabet, and I spell a lot of English words wrong. I didn't go to Bracket Church because she didn't see me. I didn't talk to Bob. No nonsense like this. In Bracket Church, you came in and you left. It was like a classroom setting. I wasn't involved in the actions of the church. But these are just trivial things. Just that she brings up. Point is, who are you going to trust? Are you going to trust the King James translators, or are you going to trust Brainouty? Trust Brainouty. You trust R.B.Thieme. You trust James White. You trust John MacArthur. They're going to lead you right off the cliff. Amen. Thank you.